At 11:47 on a Thursday night, my husband told me to get out of our house. I was 8 months pregnant with what he said wasn't his child. I had $86 in my checking account, one working credit card, and contractions that had started 40 minutes earlier. Marcus stood in our bedroom doorway with his phone in his hand, reading something I couldn't see. His voice was flat. My lawyer says you need to leave before this becomes a legal issue. I remember sitting on the edge of our bed, one hand on my stomach, thinking, I should probably grab more than one pair of shoes. The baby kicked, hard, like she knew. Marcus kept talking. He'd spoken to his mother. She agreed this was the right thing. His brother had lawyer contacts. Someone named Jennifer from his office had offered to help him through this. That last name made something click into place, but I was too focused on breathing through another contraction to deal with it yet. Marcus, I said, I'm having contractions. That's not my problem anymore. Before I could answer, I heard his mother's voice through his phone speaker. She gave this satisfied little hum and said, Good, now she can go figure out whose problem she really is. That was the moment something inside me went very still. I looked at the webcam on our bedroom dresser, the one Marcus had insisted we install. 6 months earlier for security after a break-in 2 streets over. The small green light was on. Our entire house had cameras. Living room, kitchen, garage, even the nursery we'd just finished painting. Marcus had picked the system himself. High definition, he'd said. Cloud backup. Records everything. I pressed one hand to my lower back and stood slowly. Okay. Marcus blinked. Okay, what? I'll pack. Across from me, Marcus shifted his weight. For just a second, he looked uncertain. Then his phone buzzed and his face hardened again. I picked up my hospital bag. I'd packed it 3 weeks earlier, following the checklist from my OB. It sat in our closet next to Marcus's gym duffel that hadn't moved in 7 months. Where will you go? He asked. I looked at him. Does it matter? He didn't answer. I walked past him into the hallway. The nursery door was open. Pale yellow walls. The crib Marcus's father had built, a mobile with tiny elephants that I'd spent an hour hanging at exactly the right height. Another contraction hit. I stopped, braced against the doorframe, and counted. 43 seconds. Behind me, Marcus said, You should call whoever the father is. Let him deal with this. I didn't turn around. The father is dealing with it. He's throwing me out. Then I left. 3 months earlier, I had started noticing things. Marcus worked late every Tuesday and Thursday. That wasn't new. He was a senior project manager for a commercial development firm in Fishers, Indiana, and his hours had always been unpredictable. What was new? He started showering immediately when he got home. Before, he'd collapse on the couch, eat whatever I'd made, watch SportsCenter. Now he walked straight past me to the bathroom. Then there were the text messages. Not hidden exactly, just carefully managed. He'd switched his phone to Do Not Disturb during dinner. Work is stressing me out, he explained. I need boundaries. I believed him. For a while, on a Wednesday in February, I'd been putting away laundry in our bedroom when Marcus's laptop chimed with a message notification. He'd left it open on the dresser. The preview showed a name, Jennifer Calloway. The message said, Last night was perfect. Can't wait for Thursday. I stood there holding a stack of Marcus's undershirts, 7 months pregnant, staring at 12 words that rearranged my entire understanding of my marriage. I didn't confront him. I know that sounds passive. Maybe it was. But I'd watched my sister Rachel go through a divorce 2 years earlier. Her husband had denied everything, deleted evidence, made her look paranoid. By the time their court date arrived, Rachel had nothing but suspicions, and he had a lawyer who made her sound unstable. I wasn't doing that. Instead, I opened my laptop and logged into our home security system. Marcus had given me the administrator password 14 months earlier and never changed it. The system kept 90 days of footage in cloud storage. After that, it auto-deleted unless you saved specific clips. I started downloading. Every Tuesday. Every Thursday. Every weekend Marcus claimed he was meeting the guys or checking on a site. Our cameras had audio. Not perfect, but clear enough. I saved 47 different clips to a private folder on Google Drive. Then I sent myself the account password in an email, drafted to my sister with instructions. If anything happens, open this. Marcus never asked what I was doing on my laptop those weeks. He was too distracted by his phone. The accusation came 5 weeks before my due date. We'd been eating dinner. I'd made chicken parmesan. Marcus had barely touched it. Finally, he put down his fork. I need to ask you something. I looked up. Is the baby mine? For maybe 10 seconds, I didn't say anything. Our kitchen clock ticked above the sink. Outside, someone's dog barked twice. What? You heard me. I actually laughed. It came out sharper than I meant. Marcus, are you serious? He didn't smile. Jennifer said, Jennifer. He stopped. I put both hands flat on the table. Jennifer from your office? The one you've been texting? His face changed. It's not like that. Then what's it like? Marcus stood up. The chair scraped against our tile floor. Don't turn this around. She told me you've been distant. Secretive. You're on your laptop all the time. You barely talk to me anymore. I stopped. Took a breath. When exactly did Jennifer develop such detailed insights into our marriage? He looked toward the window. That night, Marcus slept in the guest room. 2 days later, he came home with printed lab information for a paternity test. After the baby's born, he said. We're doing this. I should have fought harder then. Instead, I said, fine. What I didn't say, I'd already scheduled my own test through my OB's office. Because if Marcus wanted to burn our marriage down over Jennifer Calloway's paranoia, I was going to have every piece of documentation ready. I drove to my sister Rachel's apartment in Noblesville. It took 23 minutes. I had 4 contractions on the way. Rachel opened the door in pajamas, took one look at me and said, Hospital or lawyer? Hospital, probably, maybe both. She grabbed her keys. St. Vincent Women's Hospital was another 15 minutes north. By the time we arrived, my contractions were 8 minutes apart. The triage nurse took my blood pressure twice. Is your husband coming? She asked. No. She glanced at Rachel, then back at me. Okay, let's get you monitored. They admitted me at 2:18 a.m., false labor, technically. My cervix hadn't dilated enough, but my blood pressure was high. And the baby's heart rate kept dropping during contractions. The OB on call was Dr. Nguyen. I'd never met her before. She had kind eyes and cold hands. We're keeping you overnight for observation, she said. If things progress, we'll talk about delivery. If not, bed rest at home. I almost laughed. I don't have a home right now. Dr. Nguyen looked at Rachel, then at me. What happened? So I told her. Not everything. Just enough. When I finished, Dr. Nguyen was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Stress isn't good for you or the baby. Do you have somewhere safe to stay? Rachel answered before I could. She's with me. Dr. Nguyen nodded, then added, For what it's worth, I've been practicing obstetrics for 19 years. Babies don't lie. DNA doesn't lie. People do. That sentence stayed with me. I spent 2 nights at the hospital before they released me. Bed rest, low stress, follow-up in 1 week. Rachel's apartment had 1 bedroom. She gave it to me and slept on the couch without asking if I minded. On my 3rd morning there, I opened my laptop and logged into our home security system. I wasn't sure what I expected to find. What I got was better than I'd imagined. The night Marcus kicked me out, he'd made a phone call. Standing in our kitchen at 12:03 a.m., facing the camera we'd installed above the stove. I turned up the volume. Marcus, it's done. She left. Pause. Marcus. No, I know. You were right. Jennifer, I know. Longer pause. Marcus. Next week. Once the baby's here and we have proof, I'll file. You said your lawyer can expedite it, right? My stomach tightened. Marcus laughed. Actually laughed. Yeah. Then we don't have to wait. Your place is bigger anyway. He hung up, stood there for a moment, then opened our refrigerator and ate the leftover chicken parmesan I'd made. I watched that clip 4 times. Then I went back further. February 10th. Marcus and Jennifer in our living room. I'd been at a doctor's appointment. The camera by our TV caught everything. They weren't just talking. I downloaded that clip too. March 3rd, another Tuesday. Jennifer's car in our driveway for 3 hours while I was at my sister's helping her repaint her bathroom. March 24th. Marcus on the phone in our garage. Once the paternity test proves it's not mine, she gets nothing. The house is in my name. I checked. Except the house wasn't only in his name. We'd refinanced 18 months earlier. Both our names were on the mortgage. Marcus either didn't know or didn't care. I made a folder, labeled it Evidence, started organizing. By that evening, I had 22 clips. Dated, time-stamped, downloaded. Rachel came home with takeout. You've been on that laptop for 6 hours. I turned the screen toward her. Watch this. She did. When the clip finished, Rachel sat back. Oh, he's fucked. My daughter was born on a Tuesday. Fitting, considering Tuesdays had ruined my marriage. Labor started at Rachel's apartment. Real labor this time, unmistakable. We made it to the hospital with 90 minutes to spare. Emma Grace arrived at 6:47 p.m., weighing 7 pounds, 4 ounces. She had Marcus's nose and my stubborn chin. The delivery nurse said she'd never seen a baby give such a skeptical expression right out of the womb. She looks like she's already tired of everyone's nonsense. The nurse laughed. She gets that from me, I said. Rachel cried. I didn't. I felt strangely calm. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe shock. Or maybe I'd simply run out of emotional capacity 6 days. Earlier, when my husband chose his mistress over his wife and child, Dr. Nguyen came in an hour later. How are we feeling? Tired, sore, homeless. She smiled gently. One problem at a time. Then she handed me paperwork. For the birth certificate. Father's name? I hesitated. Rachel looked at me. You don't have to put him on there. Actually, Dr. Nguyen said, you should. If you're pursuing child support or custody, documentation matters. So I wrote, Marcus Devon Hartley. Then I signed the consent form for the paternity test Marcus had demanded. Might as well get it over with. The hospital drew Emma's blood the next morning. Marcus never called. Never texted. Didn't ask if I'd gone into labor or whether his daughter existed yet. Jennifer probably kept him busy. The DNA results came back 11 days later. I was at Rachel's apartment, feeding Emma at 2 a.m. when the email arrived. I opened it on my phone with one hand. Probability of paternity, 99.97%. I stared at that number for a long time. Emma finished eating and fell asleep against my shoulder. Marcus was her father. Obviously, I'd never been with anyone else. Not in the 10 years we'd been together. Not in the 8 years we'd been married. But Marcus had convinced himself otherwise. Or Jennifer had convinced him. Same result either way. I forwarded the results to my lawyer. Her name was Angela Torres, and Rachel had connected us 4 days after Emma was born. Angela called me 6 hours later. Got the DNA results. As expected. Yeah. Have you sent them to Marcus? Not yet. Good. Don't let him sweat. If he wants proof so badly, he can request it through legal channels. In the meantime, we file. For what? Everything. Custody, child support. Spousal support while you're on maternity leave. You're still legally married and he abandoned you while you were 8 months pregnant. Indiana courts don't love that. I almost smiled. Okay. Then Angela added, you mentioned security cameras. Do you still have access? Yes. Download everything tonight. He'll figure out eventually that you've been watching, and when he does, he'll change the passwords. She was right. I spent Emma's entire next nap session downloading clips. By the time I finished, I had 68 video files documenting 14 weeks of Marcus's affair with Jennifer Calloway. Some were just conversations. Others were more. All of them were time-stamped. All showed our address in the corner. All proved Marcus had been lying for months. I sent the entire folder to Angela. She called back in 20 minutes. Oh, this is good. This is very, very good. Marcus requested a meeting 3 weeks after Emma was born. His lawyer set it up. Neutral location, a conference room at Angela's law office in Carmel. I arrived early with Rachel. Angela met us in the lobby. Quick reminder, she said. Let me do the talking. If he tries to engage you directly, stay calm. Don't get emotional. I'm not emotional. I'm tired. Angela smiled. Even better. Marcus walked in at exactly 10 a.m. He had Jennifer with him. That surprised me. Also didn't. Angela raised one eyebrow. Ms. Calloway, this is a legal meeting between spouses. Unless you're Mr. Hartley's attorney? Jennifer started to say something. Marcus touched her arm. She's here for support. She can wait in the lobby. For a second, I thought Jennifer might argue. Then Marcus whispered something and she left. We sat. Marcus looked at me for the first time in nearly a month. You look good. I didn't answer. His lawyer, a man in his 50s named Richard something, opened a folder. My client is willing to discuss terms for an amicable separation. Angela smiled. How generous. Let's hear them. Richard slid a paper across the table. I didn't touch it. Angela did. She read for maybe 30 seconds. Then she laughed. Actually laughed. Mr. Hartley keeps the house, the cars, and his retirement accounts. Ms. Hartley receives $600 a month in child support and vacates the property within 30 days. Angela looked up. Did I miss the part where she also pays you for the privilege of raising your child alone? Richard's face didn't change. My client disputes paternity. Angela slid a different paper across the table. The DNA test your client demanded says otherwise. Then I'm hindsight. That's about as definitive as science gets. Marcus stared at the results. His jaw tightened. Furthermore, Angela continued, my client has documented evidence of your affair with Jennifer Calloway, conducted primarily in the marital home, over a period of 14 weeks. She opened her laptop, turned it toward them, pressed play. The video showed Marcus and Jennifer in our living room. I won't describe what they were doing. Marcus's face went pale. That's time-stamped, high definition, audio included. Recorded by the security system you personally installed. Angela closed the laptop. We have 68 similar files. All admissible. All very clear. Richard looked at Marcus. Marcus looked at the table. Angela leaned forward. Here's what's actually going to happen. My client gets primary custody. You get supervised visitation until you prove you can co-parent without involving your mistress. You pay child support calculated at Indiana's standard guidelines. You pay spousal support for 18 months, while my client rebuilds her career after you abandoned her during a high-risk pregnancy. And you split all marital assets 50-50, including the house. The house is mine, Marcus said. The house is jointly owned. The mortgage has both names. Your wife made payments from her income for 6 years. Angela smiled. You want to take this to trial? I'll bring the video footage. All of it. I'll bring hospital records, showing when your wife was admitted with stress-induced labor after you threw her out. I'll bring testimony from medical staff, and I'll make sure Jennifer, Calloway's employer, knows she was conducting an affair with a married colleague. Marcus's lawyer held up one hand. We'll need time to review. You have 48 hours. After that, we file and let the court decide. The meeting ended. As Marcus stood to leave, he finally looked at me again. I didn't think... I know, I said. You didn't think. That's the problem. Marcus settled. He didn't want the videos shown in court. More specifically, Jennifer didn't want the videos shown anywhere. Turns out her employer had a morality clause in management contracts. An affair with a married coworker wouldn't just be embarrassing. It could cost her the promotion she'd been promised. The final terms weren't perfect. They never are. I got primary custody. Marcus got Emma every other weekend once she turned 6 months old. He paid child support and spousal support. We sold the house and split the proceeds. It took 9 months to finalize everything. I moved into a smaller place in Fishers. 2 bedrooms, a tiny backyard, no security cameras. Rachel helped me paint. Emma's nursery the same pale yellow as the one Marcus and I had done together. We hung the elephant mobile. It felt like claiming something back. Marcus married Jennifer 8 months after our divorce finalized. I found out through Facebook. Didn't bother me as much as I expected. Emma's first birthday was on a Tuesday. I made cupcakes. Rachel came over. We sang off-key and Emma smashed frosting into her hair. Marcus texted that morning. Can I see her later? I said yes. He came by at 4:00, stayed for 20 minutes, held Emma awkwardly and left. After he was gone, Rachel said, Do you regret anything? I thought about it. I regret marrying someone who believed his mistress over his wife. I don't regret leaving. What about the cameras? I smiled. Best security system I ever invested in. If you've ever had someone try to rewrite your story while you were still living it, you know why documentation matters. Marcus wanted me to be the villain. The unfaithful wife, the liar, the woman who trapped him with someone else's baby. He built that story carefully. Told his mother, his brother, his lawyer. Told Jennifer, who probably helped him write it. What he forgot, he'd given me the tools to prove him wrong. Sometimes the truth isn't dramatic. It's just time-stamped video footage and a paternity test that says, Nanai mindsight. Emma's 2 now. She loves elephants, Bluey. And throwing food off her high chair to see if I'll pick it up. I will, every time. Marcus sees her twice a month. He tries, I'll give him that. He's not a terrible father. Just a terrible husband. Jennifer and I have never spoken. I don't plan to. She's welcome to the man who threw out his pregnant wife. I hope they're very happy together. As for me, I'm tired. I work part-time from home, doing medical billing. Emma goes to daycare 3 days a week. Money's tight. My back hurts from carrying her. I haven't slept past 6 a.m. in 2 years. But every morning, Emma wakes up calling Mama, and I get to be the one who answers. Marcus didn't take that from me. The DNA results made sure of it.